Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1983B, and today's date is September 30th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Fear, Panic Sets In for the Deep State. They'll never try this again. Target locked. Now, over the last 30 days, Capital One, the Central Bank of Europe, and the great state of Texas have all been hacked in major data breaches. This is starting to get really out of control, guys. Who's going to be next? VPNs can be used to shield your browsing activity from prying eyes. Here, let me show you how easy this is. Go to Virtual Shield, download the free 30-day trial, install it, and click Connect. This month, Virtual Shield is offering the anniversary special of 30% off all VPN plans. Sign up for a free 30-day trial to Virtual Shield VPN and see what the hype is about. You have nothing to lose. Click on the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse, political, and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, the mainstream media, they're continually hammering at impeachment and pushing the idea that Trump has done something wrong. This is exactly what the patriots want them to do. Why? This allows the following to be exposed. It exposes the players in Congress that are pushing this fake whistleblower, this fake information. It exposes the mainstream media and how they are involved in it, covering up Biden, Obama, and Clinton. It shows that the whistleblower, who is not really a whistleblower, did not hear anything firsthand. They use second and third-hand sources for their complaint. The deep state is holding the whistleblower identity a secret because they know if it is revealed, the patriots would uncover evidence of who this person really is. It shows that the deep state has changed the whistleblower form days before to allow this complaint. It shows the Ukrainians did not know about the suspension of funds until a month later. It showed the Ukrainian president was not forced or pushed. It shows the president was completely transparent with the American people. We'll be talking about how this entire push by the deep state is going to boomerang right back at them. But first, a judge is ordering AOC to testify in person over Twitter bans. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has been ordered by a Brooklyn federal judge to appear in person to explain why she has blocked several people over Twitter. The judge says, I think she has to testify here and explain why she is blocking individuals in Twitter. Now, don't get me wrong, but didn't a judge rule that Trump cannot block or ban people from Twitter because he is a government official and this goes against the First Amendment? Why is AOC allowed to ban or block people? Very interesting. Now, Rudy Giuliani, he is pushing the envelope. He's appearing on many of the mainstream media stations. He's continually telling the story of Joe and Hunter Biden. He's producing evidence, and the mainstream media continually tries to spin the evidence he is producing. Even though he is showing them facts, he's exposing the mainstream media and educating the American people at the same time. Rudy Giuliani tweeted out the following. The Bidens have played the influence game for years, and now the American people are demanding answers. Joe Biden understands what he is doing, and he's trying to stop Rudy Giuliani. This is real panic. Joe Biden wrote executives at ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, Fox to demand that Mr. Giuliani not be invited on the air to discuss Ukraine and Trump. I mean, think about what he just did. He's telling the networks, listen, I'm going to tell you what to do. Don't have this person on here. I don't want him talking about Ukraine. I don't want him talking about what I did in Ukraine. So you need to ban him. Why would he do this unless he's panicked? Rudy Giuliani tweeted out the following. The Bidens are clearly rattled by the affidavit showing there is a named accuser and not an anonymous source who is ready to testify. Reminds me of the reaction to the corrupt polls of the 70s and 80s. They have their Dem media trying to destroy my reputation and silence me. And then he shows Biden's letter to the networks saying, listen, you need to stop having Rudy Giuliani on. Then Rudy Giuliani, tweeted out the following. Think of the Biden arrogance and an entitlement to protection. They believe they own the media and they're demanding that they silence me. They know I have incriminating facts, not hearsay, because they know what they did in selling Joe's office to a Ukrainian crook. Now, we need to remember, Rudy Giuliani is not on the defensive. He's on the offensive all the time, hitting the mainstream media, hitting the Bidens. The Patriots planned this, and they knew this would be the time to educate the people. The mainstream media are helping him do this, and they don't even realize it. They think they have the upper hand. They think, oh, we're going to counter him. But he's showing proof. He's showing documentation. And the mainstream media is looking like fools. Rudy Giuliani was in Ukraine, not investigating Joe Biden, but he was there because of the 2016 election meddling. Take a listen to what Joe D. says about why Rudy Giuliani was in Ukraine.
What is this all about? Rudy Giuliani received information that there were people in the Ukraine who could prove that there had been an effort to frame Donald Trump from people in Ukraine. So, while looking into that allegation, he discovered that the Vice President of the United States at the time, Joe Biden, had threatened to withhold $1.2 billion in loan guarantees unless the prosecutor there in Ukraine, who was investigating his son, Hunter Biden, was fired. The prosecutor refused. The president of Ukraine, Poroshenko, asked him to do it for the good of the country. He refused, and he was fired.
Now, as you can see, Rudy Giuliani was there, and then all of a sudden, someone mentioned something, and it piqued his curiosity, and he started to investigate the Bidens. Now, was this planned? Most likely, yes. But they used it as a cover story. He was there to investigate the 2016 election meddling, and they knew the Bidens in Ukraine were corrupt with corrupt Ukrainian officials. But again, they needed a cover story to say why Rudy Giuliani was doing this. What Rudy Giuliani is doing is he's producing facts, documents. How do you argue against facts and evidence? You can't. The mainstream media can try, but people see through this. Let's look at some of Joe and Hunter Biden's dealings. And this comes out of Breitbart. Joe Biden's top campaign contributor hired Hunter fresh out of law school. Shortly after Joe Biden was reelected to the U.S. Senate in 1996, his largest campaign contributor, the credit card issuer MBNA Corp., hired Hunter for an undisclosed role. The job raised eyebrows from ethics watchdogs, since MBNA employees had just donated $63,000 to Joe Biden's reelection campaign in what appeared to be a coordinated manner designed to sidestep federal campaign finance regulations. Hunter Biden was on MBNA's payroll while Joe Biden was writing bankruptcy reform legislation. In the early 2000s, Hunter Biden remained on MBNA's payroll as a consultant while his father was writing and pushing the Bankruptcy Abuse Prevention and Consumer Protection Act of 2005. The arrangement, which did not become public until after the law was passed, started in 2001 after Hunter Biden had left his position in the Commerce Department. Hunter Biden was paid monthly consulting fees, with some claiming they ranged upwards of $100,000 to advise the company on online banking issues. Hunter Biden sought to monetize off his father's political standing on Wall Street. In 2006, shortly before Joe Biden assumed the chairmanship of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and launched his second presidential campaign, Hunter purchased a hedge fund called Paradigm Global Advisors with his uncle. His name was James. Although neither had a strong background in finance, James and Hunter believed they could leverage Joe Biden's political connection to their benefit. Paradigm's executives claim that James and Hunter Biden saw the hedge fund as a way to take money from the rich foreigners who could not legally give money to Biden's campaign account. The entire approach was completely unsuccessful after a series of bad investments, including a partnership with a Ponzi scheme. James and Hunter eventually chose to strip the hedge fund of all its assets in 2010, selling them to the highest bidder before shuttering it indefinitely. Hunter Biden's firm scored $1.5 billion deal with the Bank of China only days after his father paid an official visit to the country. And we know what happened in Ukraine. This is not a one-off thing. The Bidens are part of the swamp. The Bidens are corrupt. This is what Trump and the Patriots are trying to bring out to the public. They're educating them now. They're taking this time while Pelosi and Schiff and the mainstream media are trying to say their impeachment is coming. No. What's happening here is this time right now, the Patriots are sitting back. Rudy Giuliani's doing his job. He's going on every single network that he can find, and he's educating the American people. The facts are now pouring out, and the deep state is having trouble controlling the narrative. This was the plan. They thought the president was in a place of weakness, so they jumped on the chance to get him. Where have we heard this before? Where you make your enemies think that you're weak while you're strong, and you make them think they have the upper hand. Well, this is the art of war. Sun Tzu. Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak. This is exactly what the Patriots are doing right now. The deep state, they believe they had the upper hand. They never expect Trump to release his transcript. Adam Schiff, Pelosi, Brennan, Clinton, and the rest thought they had the plan all ironed out and they had everything ready to go. But the spotlight is being shifted and it is shining on them. Let's look at Adam Schiff. Now, we know that he had the complaint way before it was released. Actually, many individuals had this complaint. They knew exactly what the phone call was. They knew what the complaint was. They knew it all. He was using this to build a narrative. But we also found out new information. Schiff sent a staffer to Ukraine to meet with the former president after receiving the whistleblower report. Jack Posobiec tweeted out the following. Breaking. Adam Schiff sent a House Intel staffer to Ukraine during August 24th to August 31st, just 12 days after receiving the whistleblower complaint. This is the same week Schiff posted his Ukraine military aid tweet on August 28th. Remember that? Trump is withholding vital military aid to Ukraine. Now remember, he had this complaint a month before. Basically, he was just using this to shape a narrative. This trip was sponsored by a think tank that receives funding from a program of left-wing billionaire George Soros, Open Society Foundation called Open Society Initiative for Europe. And here is Adam Schiff's signature authorizing the travel dated July 22nd. Now, why did he sign this on July 22nd? Because he already had the complaint. He already knew what Trump's phone call was. He had everything. They were setting it up. They met directly with the former Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko, who lost to current President Zelensky in a landslide, 73-25. And why did that happen? Because the deep state was no longer in control. Remember, the deep state in Ukraine had a regime change. They put their people in power. And when Trump got elected, things started to fall apart. Now, Poroshenko was known for his strong ties to the Obama administration, specifically Obama's point man for Ukraine. Who was that? Well, that was Biden. And then Jack continues, P.S. The co-founder of CrowdStrike is a senior fellow of the Atlantic Council think tank. The same names just keep popping up. It appears the Ukrainian corruption scandal goes far beyond just the Biden crime family. And it does. Now we find out from the Gateway Pundit that Pelosi and Schiff are connected to a prominent Ukrainian arms dealer. Now we know why Pelosi is saying impeach, 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 because what is Giuliani doing in Ukraine? I can't be exposed in this. And what we come to find out is that Speaker Pelosi and Adam Schiff are both connected to a Ukrainian arms dealer. In 2013, Ukrainian Igor Pasternak held two different fundraisers for Schiff, asking for contributions between $1,000 and $2,500. Pasternak has also been connected to George Soros. And Pasternak, he's an arms dealer. He's been selling arms in places like Syria, where the deep state was pushing a regime change there. And now we know that Nancy Pelosi is also connected to this Ukrainian arms dealer. She met Pasternak at a fundraiser in Washington, D.C. So were they Democrats? Were these individuals being paid off by Ukrainians? Well, you follow the money, and most likely, yes, they were. Trump and the Patriots are leading the deep state down the path, and it is exactly where they want them to go. Trump is letting the public know that the mainstream media does not want to touch Biden and that they will defend him to the very end. Trump tweeted out the following: "Fake news media wants to stay as far away as possible from the Ukraine and China deals made by the Bidens. A corrupt media is so bad for our country. In actuality, the media may be even more corrupt than the Bidens, which is hard to do." Now, we know that Pelosi is going all out on impeachment, but it seems she might have just messed up everything that she was trying to do. Benny tweeted out the following. This is Benny Johnson. "Last night on 60 Minutes, Nancy Pelosi said she knew what was in the Ukraine call before the White House released transcript to the public. She then claims it was in the public domain. It wasn't, everyone. This was not in the public domain. It was kept on a secure server. How did she know what was in the call? That is the question, because it was leaked to her. So Pelosi most likely ruined the impeachment process with the statement she made on 60 Minutes. If she already knew what was in the call, then she was working with others on this plan, working with Schiff, Brennan, and others. Think about this for a second. This was planned out. They never expected Trump to release his call because the entire plan was based on Trump keeping it a secret. They knew that he put it in a secure place. Do you think he did that on purpose? To make them think that he would never, ever release that? Absolutely. And this brings us to the whistleblower. The deep state does not want the identity of the whistleblower made to the public. Trump is saying that he has the right to confront his accuser, and he tweeted out the following. "Like every American, I deserve to meet my accuser, especially when this accuser, the so-called whistleblower, represented a perfect conversation with a foreign leader in a totally inaccurate and fraudulent way. Then Schiff made up what I actually said by lying to Congress. His lies were made in perhaps the most blatant and sinister manner ever seen in the Great Chamber. He wrote down and read terrible things, then said it was from the mouth of the President of the United States. I want Schiff questioned at the highest level for fraud and treason. In addition, I want to meet not only my accuser, who presented second and third-hand information, but also the person who illegally gave him the information, which was largely incorrect to the whistleblower. Was this person spying on the U.S. president? Big consequences." He continued, "Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats can't put down the impeachment match. They know they couldn't beat him in 2016 against Hillary Clinton, and they're increasingly aware of the fact that they won't win against him in 2020. And impeachment is the only tool they have to get rid of Donald Trump. And the Democrats don't care if they burn down and destroy this nation in the process. I have never seen the evangelical Christians more angry over any issue than this attempt to illegitimately remove the president from the office, overturn the 2016 election, and negate the votes of millions of evangelicals in the process. They know the only impeachable offense that President Trump has committed was beating Hillary Clinton in 2016. That's the unpardonable sin for which the Democrats will never forgive him. If the Democrats are successful in removing the president from office, which they will never be, it will cause a civil war-like fracture in this nation from which our country will never heal." Pastor Robert Jeffries. Now think about what Trump is saying. First of all, he's letting everyone know that he's not going to be removed. Remember, it takes 2/3 of the Senate, and there has to be facts. Now, McConnell was out there saying, yes, if the House votes for impeachment, the Senate then has to have a trial. The Senate will have a trial, and they'll have to present facts. This is where it's going to fall apart. Trump, the Patriots, they already know this. They know they don't have the facts. There was no crime. There was nothing committed. Remember, this was planned out. And we have to remember this entire push of this whistleblower, it's going to fall apart very, very quickly once the person is revealed. This was planned out. They want this individual revealed, and they want everyone to see who this is. And once that happens and everyone starts to research it, it's game over. The deep state can't recover from this. It will not work. They've been trapped by their own plan. And they're all going to wish they'd never tried this. They're feeling the pain. And more pain is coming. This entire impeachment push is going to fail. When the propaganda dies off and the dust settles, and those in the House realize that there is nothing there, all those people who flipped and said, yes, let's impeach, will start to back off. But those who have the most to lose will not back off. And you're going to see a separation. Kevin McCarthy tweeted out the following. Happening now, I'm introducing a privilege resolution for the House to vote on. The House of Reps disapproves of the action of Speaker Pelosi to initiate an impeachment inquiry against the duly elected President of the U.S. If Speaker Pelosi refuses to seek approval of the whole House in the critical decision of impeachment, as is long-standing practice and precedent, I will again give all members the opportunity to go on record so their constituents can know where they stand on the issue. Every member of Congress should go on record to say where they stand on Speaker Pelosi's unilateral impeachment. I am once again making a motion to disapprove of her unprecedented actions. Think about what he's saying. These individuals are going to go on record. Now they better look at the facts. They better look at what is going on. Remember, this is all part of draining the swamp. Those individuals that are going to pursue this, they are going to lose. Now we come to understand that the special envoy to Ukraine, Kurt Volker, he decided to resign a day after the whistleblower complaint was released. And he announced his resignation after a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo a day after this whole thing started. So what we're witnessing is pure panic. This is an all-out meltdown of the deep state players and the mainstream media. You know they are panicking when they lash out. They call Trump names. They wish he were dead. They scream, cry, act like morons on live TV. The story they told the American people about Russia collusion, obstruction, was fake. The story they're telling the American people about Ukraine is also fake. It is all boomeranging on them right now. They're doomed. They fell right into the trap. They took the bait. And what are we seeing? We're seeing more individuals decide, you know something, I'm resigning. And there are others that have to leave office because of crimes. We see 4-term Republican Chris Collins of New York submitted his resignation from Congress one day before he's expected to plead guilty to charges of insider trading. We have U.S. Representative Mac Thornberry. He announced that he will not seek re-election in 2020, making him the 6th GOP congressman from Texas to say he's retiring in recent weeks. Now remember, all this treason and everything, all the corruption, is not just on one side. It's Republicans and Democrats. And guess what? When you drain the swamp, you have to drain it all. And that is what we are watching. Now, very interestingly, there was another sealed indictment which was completely unsealed, and the Department of Justice said that there are now criminal complaint charges against Zhuo Peng, also known as Edward Peng, 56, for acting as an illegal foreign agent in delivering classified United States national security information to the officials of the People's Republic of China, Ministry of State Security. So what was he selling? According to the allegations, Peng conducted numerous dead drops here in the United States on behalf of Chinese intelligence officers and delivered classified information to them in China. His arrest exposes and disrupts an operation by those Chinese intelligence officers to collect such information without having to step foot in the country. Attorney General of National Security John Demers said, coming on top of our many recent Chinese espionage cases involving both national defense and intellectual property information, this case illustrates the seriousness of Chinese espionage efforts and the determination of the United States to thwart them. And once again, we're seeing this all over the place. And believe me, this is not the only area. We're going to see a lot more of these indictments become unsealed. And you can see this individual's used a drop. Clinton didn't use a drop. She just left his server completely open without any security. This way, they could just go in and take what they wanted. Where she could say, I had no idea what was going on. It's the new way to sell treasonous information. Now, very interestingly, out in Saudi Arabia right now, they have lifted travel restrictions on their own women within the country, and they will allow tourism for the first time. And they have also announced an easing of its strict dress code for foreign women, which until now required the body shrouding robe still demanded of its own female citizens. However, the tourists, they'll be required to be in a modest attire, a definition not likely to include bikinis at the beach or anything like that. Most likely they'll still have to cover up, but they won't have to go with the full garb. But they're starting tourism because they're trying to move away from oil. Think about that for a second. Now, what's very interesting is the head of the Saudi King's security detail. He was shot dead in mysterious circumstances. Now, this individual has been in the Saudi royal family for a very long time. He served 2 kings, and all of a sudden they found him shot, and now he is dead. Now, the question is, was this by the deep state? What is going on there? We don't know as of yet. They're investigating, but it seems very suspicious at this point in time. And we understand that everything is about to change. Trump and the Patriots, they're letting this all play out with the whistleblower and everything else. They're pushing their mission to educate the American people, to understand and to push the names Biden, Obama, Ukraine, corruption, China, and they're doing this, and Rudy Giuliani is leading this effort. He is appearing on every single network. They're taking this time. They wanted this time to do this. How else do you get this information out there? Once the information has been out there, everyone's questioning it, everyone's thinking about it, this is when the tables then turn. The spotlight shifts from Trump and it moves to Biden, to Schiff, Pelosi, and the rest. Yes, they're still going to push impeachment, but remember, McCarthy is out there saying, we want everyone to know where everyone stands. This is what they wanted to happen. Those individuals that are still pushing impeachment, they're going to be in trouble later on. Those individuals that are going to back off, they'll be safe right now. They want a vote. First of all, with a vote, it removes the block. Trump then can release the D-class without the Dems saying he's releasing it because of the impeachment process. It's a political hit. If they vote and the vote doesn't go through, there is no impeachment process. There is no political hit. Plus, it shows what side these individuals are on. This has been planned from the very beginning. And then we come to learn that Mike Pompeo was listening in on the July 25th call with Zelensky. Do you think the deep state players, you think they're done right now? Absolutely. Trump and the Patriots planned this perfectly. Patriots are in control. Targets are locked. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.